Christian Methodist Episcopal. CMEs are people who have their own denomination. It's a denomination, and you may be a part of it and may not even know it. But the only reason and the only way your haters can stop you is you choose only to be a CME. That's Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. And if that's the only time that you really look at this thing, you can't hold it. You can't hold it. It ain't going to stay with you just on those days. You got to develop a lifestyle. You got to let this thing keep permeating in you, because sometimes people can get on your last nerve. They can get on your reserve nerve, and you don't want to help anybody. Your haters will win if you don't have any focus. And that's the problem. A lot of us just ain't got no focus. Your focus is on helping people. And if you're a believer, your focus is always on the resurrection. But you can't get no focus 3 times a year. You can't stay focused. That ain't enough time. You know, how you going to be a doctor? And you talking about graduating, and you got classes year round, and you go to 3 classes a year. I am a doctor. I'm Dr. Holmes. What is your problem? Oh, you need surgery? Yes. Well, doctor, how many days did you go to school? Just 3. And I got my degree. Well, you ain't operating on me, doc. You know, I don't know where you got that degree from, but you ain't operating on me. We don't really have our focus straight. How can I help somebody to get up if I have no focus? Most of us are focused not on getting people up, but on knocking them down. We don't want to see folk getting up and moving on and moving out. That might make me look bad and either expose me as not being a helper, or it might expose the emptiness of my own life. So I ain't going to help nobody. Christians are always about the resurrection. Your haters are not happy when you resurrect those who need resurrection. Secondly, those you help will not cooperate. Listen to this now. Those you help will not cooperate if helping somebody else hurts them. Say it. Come on. Those who are well off often take the position, you can and I will help others as long as it doesn't hurt me. Say that. Okay. If they think it will hurt them, they won't help you. Now, don't close your Bibles. I want you to jump ahead with me right now. And I want you to go to the 3rd chapter and the 5th verse, because you can't miss this. I'm going to wait on you. They ain't going to, they'll help you. But if they think helping you is going to hurt them, forget it. Forget it. 3 and 5, chapter 3 and 5. You see, they got to prepare all of these gates in Jerusalem, because all the gates are broken down. And when you understand the ancient world, you got to prepare your gates, because your enemies can come in. You got all kind of gates. You got gates where when you go fishing, you bring the fish through the gate. You got a gate over here where you use the bathroom. That gate over there got to be fixed. There's another gate. Oh, gates everywhere. And they got to repair these gates. But I want you to look at chapter 3 and 5. In Tekoa, they were preparing what's called the fish gate. And at the fish gate, it says there that the bougie people, the nobles, the folk who thought they were somebody, they would not lift a hand, the book said that they would not lift a shoulder to help their brothers and sisters. They simply would not participate. They were the supervisors. Any of y'all got supervisors like that? They were the supervisors, but they never lifted a hand to help out. They did not want to see others do good, because they thought if you help others, it might hurt them. Let me tell you something. In this country, don't you miss this. In this country, the nobles don't want to see other folk get help. I'm talking about this country. I done brought you now from Nehemiah's day up to our day right here. See, we got some nobles in this country who don't want to see other folks get help. Help them as long as it don't hurt me. You can help them as long as it doesn't hurt my pocket. That attitude still exists today. I don't mind giving them health care as long as I don't have to pay for it. They can have welfare and food stamps, but I don't want to help them get it. They can have a shelter for their homeless, but don't build it in my neighborhood. They can have jobs, but I don't want to raise the minimum wage. Folks will help you as long as they don't have to give up anything. As long as it won't hurt them, but will hurt somebody else, oh, they'll help you out. But when they got to go in their pocket, when they got to support it, there's a whole lot of folk in church and out of church who don't think that they need to help anybody. I don't need to give no tithe. What the church needs my money for, I can have come to church. Church don't need my commitment. Yes, we do. We need each other. We can't make it without each other. And when I help somebody else, it can only help you. We don't hurt each other by helping somebody. We help each other because life will never get better for me until it gets better for somebody else. Folk are like that in the church. I'll support you. Hello, I know y'all tired of me, but there are folk in the church. I'm telling you, I'll support you. I'll support you, Pastor Holmes, but don't ask me to give up anything. I'll support you, but don't let me have to spend my money to do it. I follow the church wherever we go, but I'm not spending money on gas to go too far. Folk will not help you if it means they've got to give up something to do it. But look at our history, black folk. Look at our history. We've always been a forgiving people. We've always been helping people even when other folk have hurt us. We've always sometimes had to help folk even when it meant we were going to get hurt. Many of us have had experiences where we've had to train far less qualified and far less competent people to take our jobs from us. We've had to nurse other folks' babies when our own babies need nourishment. We've had to cook and clean other folks' houses when our own houses needed repair. In this life, sometimes you have to do things to help others that might hurt you. Let me close right here. True servanthood means you sometimes have to help when it hurts you. I'm talking about true servanthood. Sometimes you have to help even when it hurts you. Somebody said that when you're called to the ministry of Jesus, you have to sometimes be wounded helpers and wounded healers. Nehemiah had to help even if it meant losing his job. It was going to hurt him. He had to go and talk to his boss and ask for the day off, even if it meant he could have been executed. You got to understand that what Nehemiah had to do meant that he was taking himself out of his privileged position. Nobody wants to give up that much to go help other people. But when God calls you, I said when God calls you, sometimes you got to leave your comfort and step out in the deep. Sometimes you got to put aside all of the stuff you thought was important, and you got to do what is really important. But I'm here to tell you, you can't sacrifice without it hurting you. You can't sacrifice without being willing to give up something. Nehemiah had to help even if it meant giving up everything he had. He had to leave the status of the palace. He had to go down to the ghetto. No wants to go and touch folk down in the ghetto. Nobody wanted to go and deal with those who were hurting down in the gutter. But I'm here to tell you, the God I serve is a God who loves me so much that he stood up on the balconies of heaven. He stood up and he looked down, and what he saw on earth was a world full of wretched sinners. Like everybody in here, I was one of those sinners. Oh, it must have hurt God to look down at a wretch like me and said, I don't want to give my son for that wretched Holmes. But he didn't say that. He looked down at a wretch like you, and he could have said, I'm not going to give my son for a wretch like him. But I'm so glad. I said I'm so glad that even though it hurt God to give up his only begotten son, I'm so glad that he gave Jesus anyhow. So glad that Jesus came down, took on human flesh, took every nail, took every crown, took every spear. I said I'm glad that Jesus came down. I know the cross hurt him. I know he was afflicted. Isaiah said he was wounded. He was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquity. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, but he died anyhow. I know the cross was not a beautiful situation. It was a painful place to have to die on Calvary. It was a painful place to have to take those nails. But he died. He died. Died for me. And he died for you. But I'm so glad that he didn't stay dead. So glad that he didn't stay on the cross. But when they brought him down, they put him in a bottle too. When they brought him down, they buried him on Saturday. He stayed in the grave all day. They buried him. But somebody said early. It was early Sunday morning. And he got up. He got up and declared all power. Not some, but all power. You got to go through the hurt. You got to go through the hurt. If you're going to help people, it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you some pain. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a German during Nazi Germany. And Bonhoeffer would not bow down to Hitler. Hitler arrested him, put him in jail, killed him, executed him. But as he was being executed and sitting away in that jail, Bonhoeffer said that mind concentration is going to help somebody else. Maybe the world will see the injustice that was done to me. He said, even though it hurts me, I don't want a cheap cross, and I won't bow down just to get out of jail, because I'm right. I'm standing for people. I'm right, he said, because I'm not running and hiding. I'm standing for right, but I'm standing against wrong. And he said the problem